In 1967, Roland Barthes wrote La mort de l'auteur, The Death of the Author, an essay proclaiming that the opinions of an author on what his text may mean are irrelevant to the interpretation of said text. In 2020, Julian and Magnus decided that the author's abilities are just as irrelevant. This is Kill the Author. Hello and welcome to Kill the Author, episode 19 of our School Days watch through right here. Analysis and all of that.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, second half of episode 10, third to last episode.
We're getting there.
From what I remember, right before the final, big arc, next episode kind of starts the finale. It's going to be a 2-episode finale, and there's going to be a pretty massive time skip from what I remember between these 2 episodes.
I don't remember, but I will trust you on this.
Yeah, the next episode is in December already. And this is still a day after this fall festival.
I have little sense of time in this show.
I mean, it's relevant to the finale that it's in December.
Yeah, I know, the finale. We'll see.
We'll see once we get there.
So how did the last episode end?
I mean, okay, it's still this episode, right? But our last episode.
How did the half of the episode end? The first
I
half.
think on something really big and that we didn't remember. It ended on a breakup, from what I recall.
Yes. Now that we're finally done with this, the show
Yes.
can finally take a turn to the better, right?
Are we even still pretending that? Are we
No,
even
we're
still
not.
pretending
Okay,
it could?
let's just go. So first scenes in the school.
Yes.
It's evening now. The sky's red and beautiful. You can just hear people say goodbye.
Yeah, the whole episode has this apocalyptic evening lighting. There's only scenes in the late evening and at night in this episode, which is something that I noticed.
So we can hear people say goodbye, and we see Kotonoha for just a moment cleaning.
Yeah.
She's presumably
Kotonoha. I think we don't see her face.
I think it is.
Yeah,
we
it
don't
might
see her
be.
eyes.
Yeah.
They're covered in shadow. We don't see
Yeah.
them. At least I assume she's still cleaning from the school festival,
Yeah,
because
probably.
probably no one else is.
Yeah.
They probably just left it to her to do this. And then we get a scene in Makoto's classroom.
Yes, with some of his classmates.
Yeah. Sakai is attempting to call him,
Mm-hmm.
but she just gets a voicemail response. Did she... I'm wondering, did his phone even ring, or is it turned off?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because I think you get a message like that either if you wait really, really long. But I don't think cell phones these days do that much anymore, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, we will find out in the next scene why he's not responding to his
Yes.
phone.
And we've had hints towards it in the last episode too.
Then Nanami appears, the one we call Boy.
Yes.
And Nanami appears and says, Makoto doesn't look like it, but he's pretty popular. Which came out of nowhere. She just showed up and told him, hey, Makoto, I know he looks hideous, but he's very popular.
Yeah, there is still this sort of dichotomy that the show wrestles with, which is nobody was ever interested in Makoto before this semester. No one ever got with him before this semester. And suddenly everyone's all over him without anything having significantly changed in the world.
And, why are people into Makoto specifically?
I mean, they are.
Yeah, but why?
Like we've seen.
He has no personality traits that are attractive to anyone, probably.
Yes.
And it was just mentioned that he's not that particularly interesting looking. I don't get it.
Based on, if we try to look at it from a realistic standpoint, of course there's no reason why people are attracted to him. People are attracted to him because he's the main character in a harem anime. That's why people are attracted to him.
Yeah, but you'd expect the showrunners to at least give a shit.
Or actually, he's the main character in a romance anime who acts like the main character in a harem anime. I think that's the thing that's happening.
I did read a little bit about some of the things that happen in the visual novel for this for this episode. We'll get there.
Okay.
Then Nanami continues and says, "Make sure you hold on to him." And then she immediately goes on to talk about a different subject.
Yeah.
It's so weird. She just shows up, starts talking some random shit about Makoto, and then moves on to a different topic.
Yeah.
She mentions...
She's just here to drop weird hints about maybe Makoto not being loyal to Sakai. Like, she does the same thing again in, like, a few sentences.
She mentions the girls' basketball party.
Yes.
That's central to this episode.
Yes. And were you also like, wait, okay, so this is not like an after party for the school festival.
Yeah, I also forgot the specifics.
Yeah, because, like, if it's the girls' basketball party, and, like, Sakai, for example, is only coming because they, like, collected her for it, because they wanted some more people to attend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is a very important plot point at that festival that would basically only be relevant to people who were involved with the school festival. Like, if this feels like weird placement for this. Why this girls' basketball team?
I don't know. Sakai says specifically she's not a member of the basketball team.
Yes.
But then Nanami goes on, I don't know, one of the seniors bugged me to find people for it.
Right.
Which is weird. I mean, we know the truth. We know what's gonna happen at the basketball party.
Yes, we do know that, but from what I can gather, they didn't tell her to pick up specifically Sakai.
Yeah.
So they probably didn't edit the footage we'll see there later on. In, like, Sakai was just gonna be in it whether she showed up or not.
I don't know, maybe they told Nanami to ask people to go there and they expected her to go to Sakai.
Yeah, but isn't that like a lot of steps? Isn't that a lot of steps for this?
I almost just said we're overanalyzing this, but that's the entire point.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't think we're overanalyzing it that much. I think that's just kind of a plot hole, actually.
Sakai agrees to joining them. And then they both ask Setsuna, who's sitting in the back row, if she wants to join them. But then she says, tomorrow I'll... Then she cuts herself off and says, I can't tomorrow.
You know, I think it's great that the show kind of writes itself as if it was made for our format, where it reminds us in the second half of the episode of the plot points from the first half that are going to be relevant for the rest of it.
Which is that for some reason Setsuna will not tell Sakai that she's leaving.
She does not tell Sakai.
By the way, that she's leaving that night.
Yes.
Yes, she's leaving that night.
Like, not this night, the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, the time in this episode is fucking weird. Because, like, that's why I brought it up, that it's always evening time or nighttime, because it's important what scenes happen at what time, so you can gather, okay, what's the order of shit. I'm gonna keep track of it and tell you if we're on day 1 or on day 2.
I mean, I can imagine when that is. So then Setsuna asks Sakai where Makoto is. Mm-hmm. She basically explains that she doesn't know. He's probably off slacking off somewhere. And then Setsuna just kind of quietly says to herself, so it wasn't Sakai. Who at first I was confused about this, but then I remembered what this means. It's because...
She did read the message Makoto's had.
Because Makoto dropped his phone. On it, it had the message that said, see you in PE storage room then. And at first she thought it was Kotonoha. But because she started drilling him with questions about Kotonoha.
Yeah, but from context, it was pretty clear, okay, it's not Kotonoha.
Yeah, so she assumed it was Sakai.
And it also wasn't
But now
Sakai.
she knows it wasn't Sakai, so now she's probably suspicious here.
She didn't even have it on the monitor that there's someone else involved, maybe.
Yeah. Setsuna says that she'll go looking for him. Probably because she wants to figure out who the message was actually for. Yeah. In the next scene, we find out why Makoto wasn't answering his phone.
Yes.
Because he was off having sex again in the storage room.
With Kato.
So she's who the message was for. If you didn't catch that. He wrote her to see in PE storage because they fucked.
Oh, she wrote him to see him in PE storage, whatever. I think the message was from her to him, and he was about to respond to it.
Yeah. The first thing that Makoto says in the scene actually implies that she was the one who invited him to go to the PE storage room.
Yeah, which I think is how it happened.
Yeah. And then Kato says that he looks like he's been thinking all day. Mm-hmm. I don't think he looks like he's thinking ever, because he just looks completely this
Let
kind
me
of
shorten
neutral.
That. I don't
fucking...
think he's thinking. In general, ever.
Because, like, I'm looking at his face in this scene, and he's just like this fucking jovial bullshit that we keep having to deal with. When she does this, when she tells him that he's been thinking all day, he flashbacks to all the affairs that he has, basically. to like all of his various relationships.
Yeah, on this day in the school, he met 3 guys.
Yeah. He goes through the entire plot in his head.
Yeah.
And then he says, no matter what I do, it seems like a pain.
Yeah, I also wrote that down.
Yeah. Which, okay,
Yeah.
there are 2 interpretations what he means.
Mm-hmm.
The more charitable one is that he seems to cause pain no matter where he goes.
Yeah, but that's not what he means,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Like, that's not how that's worded.
Especially considering how it continues.
Because, like, the question is, okay, it causes pain to him, probably. Like, whatever he does, it isn't fulfilling to him. Like, the way he says it with a very neutral face.
You know, like a pain doesn't literally mean having pain, it means being annoying.
Yeah. Not necessarily just being annoying, just, like, nothing he does fulfills him.
Yeah.
We can see it like that.
Yeah, because then Kato says, does he feel like this when he's with her? And he, like, very extremely tightly grabs her hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no. And, like, to me what this means is, it's not a pain to him to be in a relationship with Kato because she doesn't make any demands.
Also, I think there's something more to this because I think he's not in a relationship with Kato. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be in a relationship. He just wants to have casual sex. That's literally the only thing he wants. Just live a fucking life where you don't have relationships and just casual sex with someone. Also, like, something this made me think of is, okay, like, we saw the whole Kato plot as fucking stupid and something not necessary for this so far.
Yes.
But is Kato actually the perfect partner for him? Because Kato also seems to be okay with this not really being a relationship.
I mean, they're both horrible people.
Also, they're both horrible people. Yeah, they're horrible people.
They've known each other for years.
Fuck. Yeah.
I think we solved School Days.
I think we solved it. I think
finally
we found the perfect
solved it.
pairing.
The author has been killed.
And perfect. Headshot sound effect. And from this point onwards, everything will be fine unless Makoto somehow ruined all the relationships in his life already.
Hey, don't spoil me. I don't remember.
Okay.
Kato says that before this she felt like he didn't think of her as a woman.
Yeah.
And now she likes being acknowledged as such. Which is also a weird thing to say.
Yes, it's a very weird thing to say. It's fucking wild.
It's like, before it didn't seem like you acknowledged me as a woman because you didn't make advances on me.
Yes.
Is this what that means?
See, they're perfect for one another. They're perfect for one another. She also has a really fucking weird image of women.
Then they share a disgusting kiss.
Yes.
That I hate looking at.
I did not look at it.
And then we find out that Dobby was watching.
I literally wrote that same thing down.
The same sentence.
We keep quoting that My Immortal passage, and it's going to be indecipherable for people. Setsuna is outside the room and listening in on all of this.
For context, in the hit fanfiction My Immortal,
yes,
there's a scene where Lupin and Snape are having sex.
But it says Snake and Lupin because there's a lot of spelling errors.
And Dobby was watching.
That's the only time Dobby is mentioned in that story.
So whenever 2 people are having sex and someone else is there watching them.
Watching it and being miserable. and Dobby was watching.
Yeah. Setsuna is outside of the room, like listening in on what's going on. She's like, Makoto.
Why did I ever expect anything else? Honestly, why? I had no good reason to expect
anything else. What the hell have I done?
Oh no, I'm gonna move away tomorrow.
The next scene is at Kotonoha's house.
Yes, a very short scene.
It's probably in the middle of the night, or at least very late. Kotonoha's in the kitchen. The sink is just running, and she's just standing there.
Yeah, but it's like a glass in her hand.
Yeah, we see her sister showing up and being like, "What are you doing up so late?" Kokoro being like, "What are you doing?" And then we get like a very...
It's like when you walk into the kitchen and I'm standing there in front of the fridge at 3 a.m. in
underwear eating pickles.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Just with additional knife imagery in this situation. Because we see the knives right next to Kotonoha, and the camera like lingers on them, which, you know, could be one of 2 things. Either this is like, you know, suicidal imagery. She's up in the middle of the night, standing in the kitchen. We see the knives. She doesn't really respond to her sister. That's like, you know, self-harm, that kind of imagery. Or it's foreshadowing to the finale. I think it's
which
it's
may
one
or
of
may
both.
not have anything to do with knife. Probably not. There's no way.
There is a knife in the finale. I can say that
There may or
much.
may not be a knife in the
There
finale.
may actually be 2 knives in the finale. but I
Finale
only
may
remember one.
contain traces of knives.
Yes. Trigger warning for the finale in advance, contains knives.
By the way, does it bother you to see in media just a sink overflowing and no one turning it off?
It
Does
doesn't
that bother you a lot?
No, it actually doesn't
bothers
bother
me a lot.
I actually, when I see it, I think like the Wet Bandits. And
Yeah, I hate
Home
that
Alone.
too. I hate looking at that. Or it's the same if I
also,
see...
I don't think it's overflowing in this scene though.
It's not, it's just running.
Yeah.
But speaking of overflowing, the next scene is in Setsuna's house, where we have an unnecessary scene of her in the bathtub.
Oh yeah, I didn't even write that one down.
Yeah, I did. I think she just says Makoto's name, that's it. And we see that all of her stuff is packed. And speaking of overflowing, her bathtub is overflowing.
Oh, okay.
Like, completely.
Like, if you're so small, how do you fuck that up?
How do you do that?
Like, when I get in the bathtub, sometimes it gets a little bit fuller than I expected it. Because I'm massive. Setsuna is like a leaf in the wind.
Setsuna's like 3 apples tall.
Setsuna unsettlingly looks a lot like a child.
I know.
Anyways.
Did she just go in the bathtub and leave the sink on? What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Side note, I went back to some previous episodes for later. And one thing I noticed in particular is the roof.
Mm-hmm. The roof?
Yeah, the roof of the school.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of an elemental set.
It showed up a couple of times.
Yeah, but I think since the beginning of episode 7, it has not appeared at all.
Yeah, I think we've last seen it in the context of Kotonoha seeing that Makoto and Sakai were making out at there,
and that was
right?
at the beginning of episode 7 / the end of episode 6.
Episode 7?
Yeah.
That was like 3 episodes ago?
Yeah. It sure don't feel like it.
Yeah, that feels like... oh my... Okay, I mean, for us, it was literally a year ago. But that feels like it was way longer ago in the show.
Lots has happened since.
Yeah.
And nothing has happened since.
Yeah.
Both, it's the school days experience.
Mm-hmm.
The next scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's Makoto's house.
Yes.
So,
I wrote down this episode is Setsuna character assassination. I think that's somewhat... I put it on the side that's somewhat related to this scene, I think.
Makoto is in his apartment and he gets a call from Setsuna. She asks him if he's there. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as he says yes, she says good, and then we can hear his doorbell ringing.
So, okay, this brings up a question we brought up before. Does he have parents? Does he live alone? Because when someone comes by my house and rings the door in the middle of the fucking night, I don't just, oh yeah, I'm gonna go there and bring you up and give you something to drink. Like, does Makoto live alone? I don't think we've had a definitive answer to that one.
I don't remember. We've had it for a few characters.
We've had it for Sakai and we've had it for Kotonoha.
I think actually, if I remember right, I think he has a sister.
I might be. But seriously, you can't just ring at someone's house in the middle of the night.
Maybe his parents just threw him out.
Maybe.
In foresight.
Maybe it's just like, it's like this thing where both the parents said they want a divorce and left a note and left at the same time.
Yeah, man, what a kerfuffle.
Yeah. Oh boy. You know,
Comedy
that common
track.
situation.
Also, Setsuna went to his door and then ringed him to ask him if he's even present.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, mood. That's a mood. I can see myself doing that.
I thought maybe the reason for this is because she didn't want him to avoid this. Mm-hmm. So, like, she wouldn't ask him if he's actually there until she's already at his house so that he couldn't run away. So that he had to face this. So in the next scene, she's in his apartment now. Yeah. And she has, like, her suitcase with her.
He's bringing her something to drink.
Yeah. She has a suitcase there, which indeed implies that she is currently in the process of leaving.
Yes. Which can't be. Okay, wait, actually it can be. Oh my god, I just put the pieces together. Oh my god.
Yes?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
But that implies to me that before she went to the airport, she was just at Makoto's house.
Yeah.
And the scene where we see her drive there with the train is in the evening again. Because we have evening lighting again. So she was at Makoto's house the entire day.
I suppose.
And there is a scene a bit later where Sakai tries to call him and can't reach him.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, that's bad. Anyways.
Okay, anyway, let's go
Yes.
on so that everyone can share the pain.
It gets worse.
Makoto enters the room with tea, and he says, and I quote, I thought you were just saying you were going to spend time with me to like Kotonoha.
Yeah.
With like
Because of Kotonoha, yeah.
Yeah, nonchalantly.
And oh my god, I hate his face in this scene so much. I always hate his face, but I hate it especially in this
He
scene.
shows no regret. He shows no remorse.
Yeah.
It's just like...
I had this early hypothesis that there's this biting critique of the visual novel dating game genre in this anime by laying it threadbare out and having us try to empathize with the protagonist of a visual novel.
With the worst person imaginable.
And this scene really feels like a visual novel to me. This is really I've basically like went off of this character's route, but there's this last scene where I can still turn it around. This is the feeling that I get off of this one.
She asks him what happened after PE, which reminds me of that meme, how was PE today? You know the one?
No, I don't know that one, I think. I forgot it.
It's like an image. It says like, how was PE class today? And then there's 2 reaction images. Mm-hmm. One of them is happy, one of them is sad.
Oh yeah, these faces.
And one of them is just a horrified void. This is how I feel after PE.
Yeah, mood.
After that PE.
Mood.
After a pause, he says it's none of her business. Mm-hmm. Like, he starts looking upset. And then she basically just tells him what's going on. I know what you did. You cheated on her. And like, what if Sakai knew? Mm-hmm. And then he responds like, so you didn't tell her?
Yeah, like really relieved. Oh, so you didn't tell her?
And then what happens next is so fucking weird. Because then he starts going like...
Yeah, he is straight on max on her.
Yeah. He's just like, who are you doing all of this for?
So you must like me then if you didn't tell Sakai.
No, you must doing this because of me. And like 5 seconds ago, she accused you of cheating, and now you just turned it on his fucking head accusing her of whatever.
Well, I'm sure you did this thing that's very consistent with your motivation, only for me.
And then she says that she doesn't like him like that. And then he says, well, you don't dislike me. You know?
Which,
yeah.
Great response to a no, my dude.
You know, like I'm not a great fan of tuna, but I don't dislike it. Therefore, it means that I want to fuck tuna, right?
Yes. This is a no. So you mean a little yes? This is what this is.
Mm-hmm. So for some reason, the next part of my notes, they're just gone. It's just a cursed image. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know.
So do we move on with the next scene?
What do I have in my notes?
I think there's much. They have sex.
Yeah, they have sex. They do have sex. He assaults her after she basically said no. She struggles against him as he presses her down and kisses her. That kind of thing. But there's some more things that are actually relevant that happen in this scene.
Yeah.
Setsuna seems to have... What Setsuna is doing here while she's on the bed is basically like... You have to break up with Kato the same way you broke up with Kotonoha, is what she tells him. And what I gathered from that is that the scene earlier with Kotonoha, where he like actually broke it off for the first time, kind of gave her the wrong impression that he can end things. As if she weren't aware that like that only happened because she was present in that moment. Because she seems to think, okay, Makoto just breaks things off now and wants to be with Sakai or whatever. And that Kato just happens to be there and doesn't really play into that. And then she basically tells Makoto, you can do anything you want to me if you break up with her. Which shows... This is the part where I wrote down character assassination of Setsuna, because that portrays an awful lack of judgment. An awful lack of understanding of who Makoto is.
I just do not remotely understand what the writers tried to do with Setsuna. Especially in this episode. Yeah. This is like her final episode. She leaves after this. What were they trying to do?
I think we'll get a little bit more of what the idea behind Setsuna is in the last scene of this episode.
Perhaps.
We'll get to that when we get to that. I have a theory of what Setsuna's role in this anime sort of is. but the role Setsuna has kind of like made for herself in especially this episode is I will do absolutely everything necessary so Makoto and Sakai are together when I leave, with a very strong lack of understanding of what happens after I'm gone.
Yeah. So maybe if this is the way that she works, maybe this is why... Because I'm trying to understand why the hell she pretended to be in a relationship with Makoto in front of Kotonoha. Maybe because she wanted rather Kotonoha to be angry at her rather than Sakai. And then she's gone, so it doesn't matter anymore.
There's a logic to that. It's just the issue with that is that only works if Makoto and Sakai aren't blatantly together after this. Which is what she wants.
It's like Setsuna just ceases to exist after this scene and cannot think after this episode and cannot think further ahead.
Can't think further ahead than like 2 days. That's the absolute limit of Setsuna's understanding.
It just ends there.
Yeah.
So the next scene is also...
Please, let's leave this.
Quite relevant. Yeah.
Oh no, we're going into another bed.
Yeah. We're now in front of the AV room. I had to look this up because I'm not English.
Oh, what AV is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just audio video. It's a computer room.
Yeah, it's the computer
We call this computer room.
Yeah.
We see someone talking to someone there. Presumably it's someone from the basketball team.
Yeah.
Speaking to like a person who handles this place and telling him
That's probably like a very rich history and plot line that happens with the basketball team that we never get to see.
I looked stuff up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This person is telling whoever handles the AV room that they're moving the basketball party into there, presumably because their team room is too small for their party.
Yeah.
We know this isn't true. We know why they're doing the party in the AV room specifically.
Yeah.
And then we also have Nanami and Sakai standing in the door. And Nanami again just brings up Makoto.
Yeah.
And basically asks Sakai if she managed to contact him. And she says that she couldn't. And this is what you mentioned before.
Yeah.
Have they been fucking all day?
Yeah.
Oh god. If she basically says that she wasn't able to contact Makoto, and I was like, yeah, she's probably busy cheating on you.
Yeah.
And then she also can't contact Setsuna. Yeah, she's also busy cheating on you.
It's
and then Nanami says, maybe they were out cheating on you. And I read, like, in that order I made the notes.
And also it's like they're like, yeah, this is just to get the timing in order. We had first scene of the episode, evening time. The scene with Makoto and Setsuna at night time. And this scene is evening time again. So yes, a whole day has passed. We're at the evening of the next day, which is the day that Setsuna said she will leave. It's gonna be this day.
Yeah, Sakai jokes that would never happen, right? Comedy laugh track.
Yeah.
And then Sakai asks Nanami, how are things with her boyfriend?
Yeah, I wrote that down.
She blushes.
Because we know who that is.
Yeah, he said
he's
child
a library
molester.
rapist, yeah.
Yeah, and then Sakai says, I quote, "You can get him to be nicer to you since he's older."
I didn't even notice that part.
He just says that. You can get him to be nicer since he's older. It's just a weird thing.
Are boys nicer when they're old? Man, the image of gender in this anime, huh?
Like, this is not even common gender stereotypes.
Yeah, what? Like, this is advanced. This is advanced.
This
sexism.
is an advanced school of sexism.
I don't even know that one.
I am a novice. I'm no longer a novice.
I am merely an apprentice in the art of sexism. I don't know.
I am no longer a simple novice, Naruto. I'm a journeyman of sexism. While this is happening, Kato walks in from the back. And the next scene is also... there's just so much going on in this episode.
There's so much going on.
Basically, Nanami...
Basically, all the plots are being wrapped up now. That's what's happening. That's why so much is going on.
The next thing that happens is Nanami introduces Sakai and Kato.
Yeah, which was wild to me.
Exactly. Apparently, this is...
They only know each other through PE.
Yeah.
That's the only contact they've had.
And I was like, this can't be right. Like, this... Kato has been bullying Kotonoha for 10 episodes.
Yeah.
There's no way she doesn't know, like, why that is.
Yeah.
What? I thought she was bullying her for not being... for her boyfriend not being faithful.
Yeah, like she
what
barely has an understanding of Sakai. She barely knows that Sakai exists. Like, I assume, like, from what I gathered in this scene, she knows Sakai. Like, she knows Sakai more than Sakai knows her.
Yeah, probably.
But, like, they've never really interacted before.
And also, are you telling me they're parts of the same, like, sports class without knowing each other's names?
Yeah.
This also seems weird to me.
I mean, maybe they have really big sports classes in Japan. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
Man, you could have figured it out if you only did some research this episode.
Okay. So the rest of this scene, I just split into its extra scene. I don't know why I number these. It's completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
Welcome to scene 13. So the viewing starts. Basically, one of the whoever people who runs this says everyone has.
I wrote this person down as literally who.
Yeah,
that's what I wrote down.
Here's the viewing everyone has been waiting for, which like Nanami comments on viewing. I thought this was a party of some kind.
I thought this was a party. Yeah.
And then we see like 5 girls next to each other
who look like the cast of an anime. Like, they have very distinct hairstyles.
Yeah, they look all pretty. They look all really smug.
Yeah.
And like the same kind of like creepy horror music plays that played when Kotonoha saw Sakai and Makoto on the roof together. It's the same music, the same like horror music. And it's at this part. I know this because this is the part where I went back to look at early episodes because I had to know who the fuck those 5 girls are.
Yeah, same. I have no idea who they are.
So
like,
I was convinced from my memory that the sex tape viewing was something orchestrated by either
Kato. In my memory, it was
yeah,
Kato.
it was them. But like from context, it obviously wasn't.
Yeah, it can't be Kato because Kato is present there. Also, but it's like it makes sense that we think that, right? Because like the overly cruel mean girl clique is already something we have in this anime, and it's Kato and her gang. But now we have this very completely different, even meaner mean girl clique, the meaner girls.
I thought it was the mean girls because I'm pretty sure we saw them. At least we saw Kato in episode 7.
Yeah.
When it was brought up that there were cameras inside the fuck room.
Yeah.
And I thought it was them, but it wasn't. It was 2 faceless girls that we didn't see the head of. That were setting these up and talking about the cameras. They said that if we're running the fuck room, we should reap some of the perks, some of the benefits from this. Which I guess means that they get to tape everyone inside.
Also, okay, now I'm thinking about what my thought process was. Because I did know this is the scene where Sakai... that's gonna happen in the scene. Spoilers. Sakai is gonna see on the sex tapes that they filmed there that Makoto had something with Kato. But that means that in my mind, I didn't connect that Kato would be the one orchestrating it and showing a video of her fucking Makoto.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it couldn't be Kato, right?
Would my thought process
Wait a minute.
probably like her showing off again?
Yeah.
She's just showing them her homemade sex tape.
So those 5 girls, I have not found out who they are exactly.
Okay.
But there's very little information about this episode in particular, in detail on the wiki.
Okay.
Or about the sex tape viewing in general. But I thought, like, this must be something that also happens in the visual novel, at least on some route. So I looked that up.
Yeah, like, this seems like it's very connected to the whole school festival thing, and that's a big thing in the visual novel.
One of the potential episodes you can get in the visual novel is called the videotape, which is this.
Okay.
Which is basically this, but in that particular way the show can go, it's different.
Okay.
It's kind of weird. Often reading, like, what the various episodes in the visual novel can be like is like reading an alternate, even more miserable version of this.
Yeah, like, the anime sort of references a lot of the different stories without like deliberately going down those paths.
So,
and I think this is one of them.
So based on what I figured out, the whole Makoto-Kato relationship is either in a different path in the visual novel than this one, or it's not there at all. Because instead, in the videotape route, it is instead Kotonoha is there at the tape viewing.
Okay.
And there she sees a video of Makoto and Sakai having sex.
Oh.
And this is how she finds out in that route, at least.
Oh, interesting. And who's organizing it there?
The same... Okay, so there's 4 people who are actually listed by name on the wiki. I know who none of them are.
Okay.
Based on what I can tell, they're all characters from Cross Days.
Is this a route in Cross Days then?
No. I think these are all just cameos.
It's cameos. Okay.
Yeah, they're Cross Day characters. One of them is like one of the main characters, actually. But there's very little info about them in particular.
Okay.
And I thought this was weird because there's very little understandable motivation to this.
Uh-huh.
Because, let's just get back to how the scene progresses.
Yes.
because the first thing we see is a video of Nanami having sex with her boyfriend.
Yes.
You know, the child molester.
Yeah, the
that
child
guy.
molester. That guy, yes.
I told you that he was actually on screen in this,
And
in
he
this
is.
anime.
I wrote down, my first note was, we see Nanami have sex with Light Yagami. Because his hair looks like that in that shot.
And Nanami basically, like, breaks down crying in the course of the scene. And it's kind of really, really rough. We hear, like, people kind of screaming a little. So it does seem like the people there are not enjoying this.
It seems like they're
really
as
horrible.
shocked as everyone else.
Yeah, and of course, the next thing we see on the camera is Makoto and Kato having sex, because that also happened. And Sakai is there. She sees this happening.
Sakai is there, Dobby's watching.
Yeah.
Dobby is remotely watching. And watching all of this, and, like, you know, the puzzle pieces are coming together in her head.
She's like, no way. Well, by the way, the Mina girls who are showing this are all, like, fucking standing in the corner all smug.
Yeah.
This is why I want to find out more about them, because this is just such a purely evil thing to do.
Yeah, this is a weirdly evil thing.
You know, you'd think maybe they're sex taping these people so they can blackmail them?
It's especially a weirdly evil and out of fucking nowhere thing for these no-name characters that have never shown up before.
Yeah, like, you'd think that maybe at least in the visual novel they have more background, but they don't. They're cameos from another game.
They're just, like, this doesn't really make sense. Like, it would make so much more sense if Kato was the one orchestrating this. Like, Kato is established as being a complete monster.
Yeah, but not that much of a monster. That's why we call them the Mina girls.
I think that much of a monster. Like, that would have been a scene that would have been completely in character to do for Kato, but Kato can't do it because she's the one having sex with Makoto on tape. And I think that's literally the reason why they brought in no-name different other characters that have never fucking shown up before.
Okay, now we get to my by far largest bit of research I did for this. Okay. Because I had to know... Because we argued before already in the episode when we saw that the cameras were being set up. This is definitely illegal.
This is ultra illegal.
This is super legal in some way, yeah.
For sure.
But I wanted to know more.
Actually, like, that's multiple crimes, right? Like, recording it is one of the crimes. Showing it is a different one.
I wanted to know, how illegal is this?
Also, this is child pornography, right?
I didn't even consider that, but yeah, probably.
Like, these are all underage.
Okay, so it's very difficult to find very specific laws in Japan. I'm not a Japanese lawyer.
Yeah, it's probably easier if you, like, speak Japanese and can read Japanese.
Yeah, like, I would have reached out to a Japanese lawyer if I wasn't me.
Like, if I had a Japanese lawyers.
Or any lawyers. Okay, but looking up the kind of criminality that it is, I did find a law where I can describe what happened here pretty well. Okay. And that's United States law.
Okay, United States
law.
So
I basically did an analysis of what this could look like if this happened in America.
Okay.
Specifically because New York penal law has a very detailed dictionary online. It has a very detailed dictionary online for everything. So, first of all, because I wanted... you've probably heard, like, felony and misdemeanor before.
Yeah.
I want to know what this actually means.
Okay.
So I looked up what the classes of offenses in the US mean.
I think there's German terms for the equivalent.
Probably. But I actually hear the American more often, because I always watch English stuff. There's, like, a level of classes of offenses in the US based on their severity. The lowest one is an infraction, which you can, like, get a prison... Yeah, which you can get a prison sentence of 5 days or less and a maximum of a $5,000 fine.
Okay.
Then the next one are Class C, Class B, and Class A misdemeanor. Class C being the lightest one, Class A being the harder, the most extreme one.
Yeah.
Class C is 5 to 30 days in prison and a $5,000 fine at max. Class B is 30 to 6 months, so 30 days to 6 months in prison.
This one, you're not gonna get, like, prison half a year.
Yeah, and $5,000 fine. In a Class A misdemeanor is 6 months to a year and up to $100,000 in fines.
Oof, okay,
it's
that's
quite
a big jump.
Yeah. And then there's 5 different levels of felonies. That's the hardest one. So Class A, B, C, D, and E. E is 1 to 5 years in prison and up to $250,000 fine. They're all $250,000 these.
Yeah.
But Class D is 5 to 10 years. Class C is 10 to 25. Class B is over 25.
That's what we call a lifetime sentence, I think.
No, that's A. Felony Class A.
In Germany, a lifetime is, I think, 20 years, 25 years.
Okay. Because Class A is lifetime sentence or death sentence, if that exists in the state that
25 plus is already, I think, a lifetime sentence. So all you can get at Class A, you might even get a death penalty.
So in there, I found a law that pretty well fits what we're looking at here. And that's Article 250.45 of the New York Penal Code.
New York, okay.
Yeah, unlawful surveillance in the second degree.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That is a form of unlawful surveillance.
I'm going to read out the description. A person is guilty of unlawful surveillance in the second degree when, for his or her own or another person's amusement, entertainment, or profit, or for the purpose of degrading or abusing a person,
Yeah, that fits.
He or she intentionally uses or installs or permits the utilization of installation of an imaging device or surreptitiously view, broadcast, or record a person dressing or undressing or the sexual or other intimate parts of such person at a place and time when such person has a reasonable expectation of privacy without such person's knowledge or consent.
Yeah, that's very much literally what's happening.
Yeah, pretty
also,
much exactly.
We just add on top of it that it's children.
Yeah, unlawful surveillance in the second degree is a Class E felony.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're talking 1 to 5 years in prison, up to $250,000 fine. By the way, first degree means if you've done the same crime before.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So I assume this is a second class felony, because I assume the same people haven't done this before and were prosecuted for it.
Probably not. I think people would have probably guessed that this might happen again if that had happened before.
If the same three people do this again. They do this every year.
We should have really gotten it by now.
Yeah. Additionally, this might also be Article 250.55, dissemination of an unlawful surveillance image or the second degree. So, which basically just means, passing it around. I wasn't sure if that also includes just showing it off in like a private setting.
That seems to be a sort of dissemination of it.
Because according to Article 245.15, dissemination or publication of an intimate image, it is defined more clearly as also just a public showing of it or distribution.
Yeah, that works.
So that would count. By the way, this doesn't classify any of this as a dissemination or publication of an intimate image. Because for that lawsuit, the image itself needs to have been made consensually.
Okay.
So that, for example, revenge porn would fall into this.
Okay.
Like if you have consensual,
you have image that was created consensually that you spread non-consensually.
Yeah, that's what that is. But this was image that was created non-consensually that is being spread non-consensually. So this would probably lead to a concurrent or consecutive sentence because we're not talking of one account of these crimes.
Yeah, that's multiple accounts.
We're talking,
they've done this to at least like 2 groups of 2 people.
Yeah, like every
and
every
probably
footage,
2 more.
Yeah, so each of these would be 2 cases of unlawful surveillance and 2 cases of dissemination of unlawful surveillance image.
Yeah.
So if I math this up, just for these 2 videos, we're talking like 6 to 24 years in prison and up to $1.4 million in fines.
I mean, I assume that this is a juvenile offense.
Yeah, they are minors.
Right? They are
true.
minors.
But then again,
it is also footage of minors on top of that.
And also, they recorded every single person in the fuck room for the entire event. This might be dozens of people, so we're talking of 100 cases.
This is a lot.
And I didn't even consider child pornography.
A couple of years of juvie for sure, like minimum.
So this is Japan. I have no idea how the law is there. But even if they, I don't know if they have a unlawful surveillance law, because based on what I can tell, the one in New York wasn't introduced until 2003. So, I don't know. Maybe they don't have.
I mean, I assume that there's an equivalent law at least.
Yeah, I mean, if there isn't, it's still definitely a crime.
Yeah, it's definitely still a crime, even if it's not like deliberate, like clearly described in the penal code.
So that's that.
I mean, it's good to know. It's good to know. That's a lifetime. That can max up to a lifetime. Although that'd probably be like, they're minors. They are. I mean, relatively.
Okay,
easy.
Actually, we don't know if they are minors. They were described as seniors.
They are seniors. True.
It is possible that they're not considered minors.
They might be adults. If they are adults, well, bad luck if they go to America.
Yeah, I guess. So the next scene is in the evening of that day. Sakai basically tries to call Makoto in a train. Yeah. It seems like she's heading towards him right now.
Yeah, she might have called him before or texted him before that. My assumption is she texted him before that.
He won't pick up. We can imagine why. And then we get like this really cool freeze frame. I like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Where like time freezes and we see behind the train that Sakai's in.
Yeah.
See another train going the opposite direction with Setsuna inside.
And that's the scene that I referenced earlier, because it's an evening time scene.
Yeah.
And she's just moving away from where Makoto was, and she brought her, like, luggage.
Yeah, so
the
she did
assumption
spend
is
the entire day
she
at
was
his
there
house.
the entire day, and they probably had sex a lot of that day.
Yeah.
I just want to, really quickly, like, pepper it in again, that Setsuna looks uncomfortably like a child.
I know. The music in the scene is actually pretty nice. This anime does not have bad music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
it's not
worst,
bad.
it's bland. But, like, there's solid music in there that I specifically have the ending song of this episode still stuck in my head, but I'm really sure it also showed up in an earlier episode. I think it was the music that played at the end of the swimming episode, where Sakai and Makoto had their first kiss. I think it's the song that played there is the one that's in the credits of this episode.
Perhaps.
It's a callback to when they got together. Because Sakai knows what's up now.
Yeah. She runs up a bridge that goes like over a road.
We've seen this bridge a couple times before.
Yeah,
it's close to Makoto's house.
She passes over a road, and we see on the opposite side, Kotonoha is ascending to the same bridge. It's like an overpass.
Presumably coming from Makoto's house.
Yeah, it's an overpass. It goes over a bridge.
Yeah.
And then they kind of face off at the bridge, and the
Yeah.
music just cuts out. And then Kotonoha asks where Setsuna is. She asks Sakai where Setsuna is.
First, Sakai like acknowledges Kotonoha.
Yeah,
Like,
they acknowledge each other.
Yeah.
Then Kotonoha wants to know where Setsuna is.
Yeah.
Because it appears that she went to Makoto's home.
Yeah, and he's not there.
Yeah. Or no one answered the door. That's the alternate option.
And she says Setsuna was supposed to do something with Makoto this day.
Yes.
Which is like the lie they told
Yeah.
in that earlier scene.
She says if he's not home, then they should be out somewhere.
Yeah.
And then they like stand right in front of each other, and Sakai looks up into her eyes, and they are just empty drapers. There's no highlights.
They left out the highlights to show that she has lost
insane
all
eyes.
will to live.
Yeah, this looks genuinely creepy.
Yeah. It is.
Like, it's weird to say, but I weirdly enjoyed this scene. I think it
Yeah.
is because I just did like a bunch of intense legal analysis, which was more fun than I expected.
I
was
also
in a
kind
good
of like
mood.
this scene, partially because like the vibe I get from this scene, like we have this whole setup from earlier that Setsuna is secretly having something with Makoto. So like one of the versions of seeing this scene in my head was like Kotonoha thinks Sakai was also cheated when they meet there. Like that's why she brings up Setsuna and talks about what's up with Setsuna, because Sakai potentially doesn't know about that yet. Also, an additional thought that I had is Sakai might have like sent him a message or something before that. We don't get confirmation for that, but I have this assumption that Makoto left his house specifically because he knew that Sakai was coming.
Yeah.
Because he knew, okay, the jig is up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
the credits are next.
the credits are next. Before that, we get the School Days logo again with the text underneath it, which really hit me in that scene. This in this school, the three guys met, 3 love stories developed from that and something like that. It felt very bookending at the end of this episode. It's very much like, man, this has gone to shit, hasn't it? Man, like we're too nice. We're too nice to this episode.
Really?
Remember
this
how much we hated everything before this scene, and this scene we're like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
I mean,
that.
I had a lot of fun doing legal analysis. This is what School Days does to you.
Yeah.
Reading penal law is fun.
You know, this scene actually got me engaged enough that I actually wrote shit down about the credits for the first fucking time.
What did you write down about the credits?
First of all, the song, which is definitely played in an earlier episode. I remember that from another dramatic scene, and I think it was from the end of the swimming episode. And on the other hand, the images on the phone that you stopped tracking at some point.
Yeah.
There is only one. This entire end credit scene has only one image on the phone.
Oh.
And it's Setsuna. It's just that image of Setsuna giving a peace sign. That goes through... Yeah, I was thinking of this meme of this dude giving a peace sign and then fading out. Like, that's Setsuna in this episode. But, like, that's the only shot that's in there. So this episode is very much the Setsuna episode. Because usually we saw characters from that episode show up there.
Interesting.
And this time it's just Setsuna.
I mean, I postulated before whether this is characters relevant to the scene, but I think there was counter evidence to this.
A little bit, but I feel in this episode it really fits.
Yeah.
Because this is the episode that basically ends Setsuna's whole shit.
Yeah. However, plot twist. This is not the end.
Yeah, this is, we get an Avengers-style end credit scene.
Yes, we get an end credit scene. When I saw this the first time I watched the episode 2 weeks ago, I went back to every episode before this to make sure that there actually wasn't a post-credit scene.
I think I checked for most episodes.
There wasn't.
Yeah.
This is the first time there's one.
Yeah.
And the last episode also has one, and that's it.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
I remember the one.
that's the only
I
ones.
actually remember what the one in the last episode is.
Yeah, there's only 2 post-credit scenes.
And I don't remember if I've actually seen this one before. I'm not sure if I've seen this.
I don't think I have. First thing I found out here is we are at a location called Narita Airport. Mm-hmm. And this was interesting to me.
Okay.
Because that place is fucking real.
Oh!
That's an airport in Tokyo.
So it is Tokyo.
It is Tokyo.
So it has been Fantasy Tokyo all along.
In fact, I have to show you a very particular comparison image that I made. Do you notice something here? This is an image from the actual scene showing the front of the image. Of Narita Airport Terminal. Written with an A.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I noticed that immediately. They misspelled terminal.
That's great.
Yeah, even the inside of the building looks identical. I looked up at images of the place.
Also, just to be clear, like, they misspelled terminal in the show. On the actual airport, it correctly says terminal.
Yeah, in the actual real airport, it says terminal.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say so in the show. It just says terminal.
Yeah.
And the 1 is missing too.
Terminal.
This isn't terminal
also,
1.
Also, terminal isn't capped.
Yeah.
It's like, isn't caps locked. It's a small T.
And the number's missing.
Great.
It's not terminal 1, it's just terminal.
This is what they have to do so it's not copyright infringement.
This isn't the terminal 1, this is terminal.
It would be really funny though. Like, they correctly spelled out the entire name of the airport, but they did the misspelling on the wrong terminal.
Makoto is there and he's looking for Setsuna.
Yeah. And I actually wrote some stuff down about that. Because he's like shouting for Setsuna and Setsuna's kind of ignoring him and making her way through the airport. And to me, like, we didn't see Makoto on the train with Setsuna. So the assumption is he came here after Setsuna. And I was really thinking in that moment, like, why is Makoto here? Like, why did he follow Setsuna to the airport and is searching for her now? And this is why I brought up earlier that I think Sakai might have written him a message or something in advance so he knows that the jig is up. Mm-hmm. Because I think what this scene is supposed to be is Makoto is trying to go to Setsuna, as everyone has been going to Setsuna throughout the entire show, as everyone has relied on Setsuna throughout the entire show, to make her help him solve his problem. Mm-hmm. He's going to Setsuna so Setsuna can solve this issue he's run into now. But Setsuna is out of it. Setsuna is taking her way through the airport, is about to leave. It ends on her like saying Sayonara. Setsuna is out of the picture. Setsuna has left the anime. And I think that's the role that we were supposed to get from Setsuna, which we talked about earlier. I think the role Setsuna plays, that this episode kind of wants to underline, is Setsuna is the one that solves all the conflict between the characters, because they're also passive. Setsuna is the active person that solves everyone's problems, and now that she's out of the anime, the characters have to fend for themselves, basically. And we'll see, without wanting to spoil too much, from next episode onward, like, there's a time jump to next episode, and everything has completely collapsed in that time. Like, all the relationships have gone to fucking shit. And I think what the anime is deliberately trying to tell us is it's because Setsuna is gone.
Like, it's not like the relationships were ever that great.
No, they absolutely weren't.
Dysfunctional,
like,
terrible.
Setsuna's ways of solving it in the end were fucking stupid and insane. But I think that's what this episode kind of wants to go at. Like, these might be things that could have been solved when Setsuna was there. But she's not responding to Sakai's messages. She's not responding to Makoto. Like, she has erased herself from the narrative. She is not here to solve everyone else's problems anymore.
She gets a flashback in this scene, last one.
Which I actually also have positive things to say about. Fuck.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me.
she basically has a flashback back to like the beginning of the school year, most likely, where she was
back in the happy times.
Yeah, where she was supposed to be the one to be seated next to Makoto in the class, and like Sakai asked her, "Hey, can I sit next to him instead of you?" And she's like, "Are you interested?" And she's like, "I don't know if it's like that or something like that." Which, first of all, like clearly confirms. I don't know if it's been confirmed before that Sakai was like always interested in Makoto. And like her trying to get him together with Kotonoha was a strategy for getting with him, I guess. I don't know. It kind of confirms that they were always interested. What I thought was really good about this scene, in the context of this scene, which really underlines like everyone's reliant on Setsuna and she's not a part of this anymore, is this is really an exemplification of her relationship with Sakai, which is Sakai wants something and she makes it happen. And we'll see in the rest of this show now how the dynamics of the school have changed now that Setsuna isn't here to solve problems anymore.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that's the end of the episode.
Did not expect to end on a note where I'm like, man, this episode really expertly sums up the relationship between Sakai and Setsuna so far.
Yeah, we've hated this episode.
We've hated this episode so much, but it ends on a high note, though.
Yeah.
Like, it ends on a note where you want to know what happens in the finale.
So, now if one of us ever gets to Tokyo, we have a site to visit.
Oh, we have a lot of sites to visit. We have to find what Haramihama is based on and all of that shit. Like, that's not real places, but they're based on
No, the one
places.
actual real place. I need to stand on this escalator and pretend to be Setsuna.
And I need to shout on the other side of the terminal.
I don't want to cosplay Setsuna with you cosplaying as Makoto. No,
I don't
please.
want to be captured by Japanese authorities for screaming in the airport. Anyways, that is the end of episode 10. Next episode, episode 11 and episode 12 after that, form the finale of the show. From what I remember, like the cutoff point between them is like right in the middle of the plot. We're gonna see where everything has gone. And it's gonna be interesting to like get a look back at things that feel like so long ago to us. Because there's a lot of, from what I remember, there's a good amount of callbacks to earlier plot lines in the finale. Like, remember Kotonoha's scarf? Remember the scarf Kotonoha was making?
Now I do.
Yeah, right? Like, it feels like it was so long ago. Kotonoha was making a scarf for Makoto for Christmas. We're gonna get to Christmas soon. The finale is at Christmas.
Hey, real life as well.
Real life as well.
Hey, look.
It's 4 more episodes. That's like until the end of December, right?
Didn't we calculate that it wouldn't be done until next year?
We did, but I think we thought it was 13 episodes. It's 12, so it would be 2 more months of recording.
Okay, hang on, let me do some calendar maths. We're recording that one on December 22nd.
Yeah. So like right before Christmas.
Oh my, it all so perfectly aligns.
It's so perfect. Oh my god, it's so perfect.
We're releasing it on theoretically December 27th.
Yeah, so like right after Christmas is when it's going to be released, and maybe we'll release it on Christmas, just, as a little treat.
Well, I mean, then we have to edit the last episode in 2 days.
We'll find the time.
That's fine.
We'll manage. Man, this is wild. I haven't had that in my head yet. That it's so close to Christmas. Man, what a little gift to have under your tree.
Yeah,
that
the end of school days.
The school days end is happening. Again, I'm still planning on doing something special for the finale. You also, from what I remember, had some special plans for the finale.
Yes.
We'll get to that when we'll get to that. It's not that long anymore. The end is in sight.
The end is near.
I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm walking towards it. You'll hear from us. We'll imagine hearing from you in the next episode in 2 weeks. Until then, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye.